Due to its non-Arabic origins, copyist errors have entered in the Quran. This could be understood if it is realized that the Quran was first written in a language that was an early, what can only be described as a pseudo-Arabic language, primarily from Syriac, a point that still remains today, which is why many words are meaningless within the Arabic language and needs commentaries to explain them. The problem is exacerbated as the Quran that is available today was not copied in its exact form from the original manuscripts. The copyist added words, letters, and deletions to try and make sense of a word or a sentence due to its obscurity. For example, in Quran 268, the word tu'marun is found, which in Arabic means you have ordered. In the original script of the Quran, the Hamza symbol is missing, shown here by the red arrow. It serves as a grammatical function representing a glossal stop, without which a rendering of its pronunciation could be tumrun. This is a Syriac word for you say. In Quran 278, there is the word amani, meaning wishful thinking. However, in the original script, there is no alif letter after the letter mim, indicated here by a red arrow, which will render the pronunciation as amni, a Syriac word that means profession. In Quran 283, it says ihsana, which means good, but in the original script the alif letter is missing, indicated here by the red arrow, which could render one of its pronunciation as hasana, which in Syriac means strong. In Quran 2102, there is the word yu'alliman, which means they teach. In the original script, the alif letter is missing, indicated here by a red arrow, so the word could be read as yulmin, which in Syriac means forever. In Quran 2124, there is the word imama, which means leader. In the original script, there is no alif letter, indicated here by red arrows, so the word could be pronounced as imamu, which also means leader in Syriac. In Quran 519, the word shay'in appears, which means everything. In the original script, there is no hamza symbol, again indicated here by a red arrow, so the pronunciation is shay, which means great honor in Syriac. In Quran 2110, the words salat and zakat are mentioned. These are words that occur in many places throughout the Quran. In Arabic, both these words have a silent vowel, in that they are not pronounced, indicated by the red arrow. In Syriac, the waw letter is pronounced, so that the pronunciation becomes salut and zakut, the latter of which means someone who has no judgment on them. In Quran 2115, the word wasi', which means wide, occurs. In the original script, there is no lengthening called med, indicated by the red arrow. Therefore, the word would be read as wasi', which means time in Syriac. The pattern here is that the addition or deletion of a letter, or adding a grammatical symbol, or lengthening of a sound can change a supposed Arabic word into a Syriac word. This is important as the Arabic language was still evolving from Syriac and other related languages at the time the Quran was being written. Even if it is argued that these Syriac words make less sense than the current Arabic words, this is because the current meanings were made to fit into the newly formed Arabic language and the Quran. Also, to add or delete letters is changing text from the original Quranic manuscript, something that Allah condemns the Jews and Christians as doing to their own books in Quran 275. And Quran 279 ends by saying, quote, "So woe to those who write the scripture with their own hands, then say, this is from Allah, in order to exchange it for a small price. Woe to them for what their hands have written, and woe to them for what they earn." End quote. At times, there were clear copyist errors that has made itself into the Quran of today, which over 1 billion Muslims recite and accept as the word of Allah. The original manuscripts were not very easy to read or understand. Human errors do occur, and this was not rectified and then entered into the standardized Quran of today. The manuscript that was used was from the Topkapi Quran housed in Turkey. As an example, Quran 38:16 has the word qittana, which is a non-Arabic word, therefore meaningless in the Arabic language. It requires commentaries for clarification. Why the word qittana came into the Quran could be understood if the original Quranic script is analysed. So by analysing the word's shape, a better fit would be the word faslana, which means our judgment, or fassalna, which means we have explained. As the original Quranic script had no dots or vowelization, the words qittana and fassalna look very similar. The word qittana does not occur in the Quran except this once, whereas the other words occur numerous times and also in the context of judgment. For example, in Quran 698. How the error could have occurred is when the word fassalna is seen in the original script. The same word can easily be rendered as qittana due to how similar it looks without any diacritics as the original Quran was written in. Below on the top right is the word qittana with diacritics, and to its right is faslana, which can also be read fassalna. On the bottom right is the word qittana with no diacritics, and to its right is faslana or fassalna with no diacritics. The words look identical, and it is easy to see how a copyist error could occur. A more obvious copyist error can be seen in Quran 21:98, where a meaningless word in Arabic, hasab, is found. With the aid of commentaries, it is translated as firewood, but the actual word in Arabic for firewood is hatab. The error is similar to the previous examples of when the original script was miscopied due to how these words look so similar in the original script. Even Muhammad's companion Ikramah had to explain that hasab actually means hatab. So too does Muhammad's cousin Ibn Abbas, who explained hasab to mean tree, in other words, wood. In Tafsir at-Tabari, on the explanation of the verse, it says both Ali and Aisha read the verse with the word hatab, not hasab. Within Quran chapter 111, verse 4, the word is correctly written, and within Quran 72:15, the word again appears correctly, albeit this time it is written with a nonation indicating an indefinite article, appearing as hataba. How the mistake could have occurred in Quran 21:98 can be seen in the below. The word hasab and next to it is hatab. On the top, the two words are written with some diacritics and distinguishing strokes which the original Quran did not have. On the bottom line, it can be seen how these two words look so similar without any diacritics at all. In Quran 29:64, the word al-hayawan is found. This word is translated as life. However, within modern standard Arabic, this word means animals, so named as they were created beings that were given life by Allah. However, the appropriate word in Arabic for life is al-haya or al-hayat, used in the Quran and also found in the same verse. Why one word became read as al-hayawan and the other read correctly lies in the reading and transmission of the word from the original script into the modern Quran, in that some parts of it was more easily read than other parts. Below on the top right is the word al-hayawan, and next to it is al-haya with the diacritics. Below are the same two words without any diacritics. They look almost identical. In Quran 26:63, a meaningless Arabic word, Tawd, is found. With the aid of commentaries, it is translated as mountain due to its similarity to another word found in the Quran, chapter 52, called Tur, a word that occurs also in Quran 95:2 and other places. This word means mountain in the Syriac language. The Arabic word for mountain is Jabal. This is clear evidence that the Quran contains Syriac words. Nonetheless, the words Tawd and Tur difference is due to only one letter misplacement. The mistake occurred because in the original script, the final letter Dal and Ra look very similar in the handwritten original script. A slight over or under curvature or inability to differentiate the two letters because of years of ink corrosion can render one letter to look like another, especially when they are so similar looking. Below on the right is the word Tawd, and next to it is the word Tur without the diacritics. In Quran 24:27, the word Tasta'nisu occurs, an obscure word that is translated as ascertain, welcome, or ask permission. However, within the same chapter, verse 59, the verb form is correctly copied to mean ask permission, فَلْيَسْتَأْذِنُوا. In Tafsir at-Tabari, commentary of the verse, even Ibn Abbas says it should be read tasta'zinu and not tasta'nisu, as it is incorrectly read in the Quran today. Notable reciter and scholar Al-Amash read the verse as tasta'zinu, not the current rendering of tasta'nisu. So did Al-Qatada and others. Ibn Kathir says in his commentary of the verse that Ibn Mas'ud in his Quran also read it as tasta'zinu. On the bottom top right is the word tasta'nisu, and next to it is tasta'zinu with diacritics. Below it, in the original Quran, is what both the words would look like without any diacritics, which is very similar and explains how this mistake could have come about. There is a more clear evidence that shows how copyist errors have crept into the Quran. In Quran 13:31, there is a word, Ya'asi, which no one knows the meaning of. Numerous translators and commentators have given a multitude of explanations. Scholars from Basra say it means to know, but this is Ya'lam, not Ya'asi. In Tafsir al-Qurtubi, Ibn Abbas, Muhammad's uncle and learned scholar, is quoted as saying it is a copyist error. He says, quote, I think the writer was sleepy. A link is provided below with more evidence. Instead, the word should be yatabayyan, which means to explain or clarify. The below shows how this mistake could have occurred. On the top right is ya'asi, and next to it is yatabayyan with diacritics. Below are the two words without any diacritics. They almost look identical. In Quran 37:78, the verse talks about Noah and how Allah blessed him. The verse contains the word tarakna, which means we left. So the verse is translated as, and we left him among later generations. The verse does not make sense unless it is forced into a meaning. However, in the same chapter, verse 113, it has the word barakna, which means we blessed, talking about Abraham and his progeny. In the original script, these two words are indistinguishable. Verse 78 would make more sense if it read as barakna, we blessed, rather than tarakna, we left. On the top right is tarakna, and next to it is the word barakna with diacritics. Below it are the two words without the diacritics. These two words are identical as they would have looked in the original manuscript. In Quran 17:23, the word qada is used, which means decreed. At-Tabari in his tafsir explains that in Ibn Mas'ud's Quran, the word is read as wassa, which means entrusted, as it is found in Quran 2132, as well as in Quran 42:13, and in Quran 2117 it has the word qada. However, in the original script, the writing was without diacritics, or smudged and not clear in other parts. This is how copyists' errors crept in. At-Tabari also says that Ubay bin Ka'b, like Ibn Masud, read it as Wassa in his Quran, as did many other early prominent Muslims. The same description is repeated in Tafsir al-Razi by Fakhruddin al-Razi. In this particular example, these mistakes came about because the difference between the two words is when the letter waw was joined to the letter sad. Thus the word came to be read with a qaf letter to make it the word qada, decreed. How the mistake could have happened can be seen below. On the far right is the word wasa because the waw is separate from the letter sad. In the middle, the letter waw is being joined to the letter sad. On the left, the letter waw now becomes the letter qaf, which makes the word qada by way of the waw joining onto the letter sad completely. In Quran 34:3, the word ya'zubu is found, a word that is repeated in verse 1061. However, the word is not Arabic in meaning, therefore no one knows the actual meaning of the word except to speculate. Commentaries are required to explain it. For example, in At-Tabari, Ibn Abbas explains it to mean absent. A better fit, a more common word in Arabic to fit Ibn Abbas's translation would be yaghrubu, which can mean disappear, a word that occurs numerous times in the Quran. For example, in Quran 1886, it appears in the feminine form to mean setting or disappear in the context of the sun disappearing from view or setting. Below are the similarities of the words. On the top right is ya'zubu, and next to it is yaghrubu with diacritics. Below, the two words are identical without any diacritics, as it would have appeared in the original Quranic manuscript from which all modern Qurans come from. In conclusion, various errors have crept into the Quran due to copyist errors, which are still recited by today's Muslims. Some of the errors are due to misunderstanding the Syriac when the Quran was being formed into Arabic, or the inability to differentiate letters or non-diligence on the part of the scribe. Commentaries were required to explain words of non-Arabic or obscure origin. Companions of Muhammad and senior classical scholars read certain words differently and admitted that there were words of non-Arabic or obscure origin. Companions of Muhammad and senior classical scholars admitted that there were mistakes contained in the Quran depending on whose Quran they were referring to. Despite criticizing other religions, primarily Jews and Christians, for having changed or altered their books, the Quran in the hands of the Muslims today shows evidence of tampering and altering. As a result, mistakes have crept in, albeit read and believed by Muslims as a divine holy text.